Editor Chris here. This episode mostly sticks with the Robert Johnson story, but we do go into a little bit of the history of the South, stuff like Jim Crow and the racism of that era. So if that's not something you really want to listen to or listen to us talk about it, that's fine. You can go ahead and skip this episode. Otherwise, you have a good day, and I hope you enjoy.
Welcome y'all to Backwoods Obscura, a podcast dedicated to the lore, legends, and myths surrounding the creatures that may lurk in your backyard. My name's Hewitt.
I'm Chris.
Hey Chris, how you doing, man?
I'm tired. I've been having to, so my oldest brother-in-law, congratulations to him. He got his CDL, so now he's driving.
That's good.
And that's great and all, but it turns out, like, when you're a truck driver, you have to drive around a lot.
Well,
and
yeah.
you also aren't necessarily in Louisiana. I think the last time he called, he was in northern Missouri.
Oh, man. I'm sorry, Remy.
Yeah, he was literally like, this place sucks. I was like, yeah, Missouri kind of sucks.
Does he have a sleeper rig, or does he have...
I'm not sure. Wow, okay, that's weird.
For the general listeners at home, we are trying two new beers for the ones we're recording tonight. This one is Carnival King Ale, or King Cake Ale. That is ale with cinnamon, cream cheese, citrus, and vanilla from La Bakery. It says La Bakery and Cafe, Chandeleur Isle Brewing Company, Gulfport, Mississippi.
Now, it does taste, it tastes like king cake flavor.
Okay, yeah. Like, it's not... Okay, let's put it this way. This is a higher-end grocery store bought king cake in liquid form. Like, this is not a good king cake.
Yeah.
Like, this is better than Walmart king cake.
Yeah. I don't know how many of those I would be able to drink in a sitting. Like, this is not a drinkable...
No.
Yeah. Anyway,
I don't mind the cinnamon at the end.
I mean, it's not too bad. But anyway, getting back to what I was talking about. So he's off doing that.
Yeah, that's weird.
He's off doing that, and oh god, he's doing faces.
Well, no, it's like you get hit, like you get a little bit of cinnamon, and then like cinnamon comes in and just slaps you across the jaw.
It's like, hey, guess what?
Cinedic.
But since he's gone, he doesn't have, like, he has his car parked somewhere, and my other brother-in-law, the younger one, does not have a car, and we have to drive him to work. And I love him.
You need a car?
He needs a car. Or I don't think he'll be able to afford a car on, like, you know, fast food salary or fast food wages, but he at least needs an e-bike. One or the other. But yeah, my nights have been like staying up till 1 or 2 a.m. driving to go get him, dropping him off.
Coming home, crashing. Yeah. So what's fun is when you are going to pick him up is when Freya has decided to wake Emily and I up.
So Freya is like, yeah, it's time to party right now.
No, it's more like I woke up angry and this is now everybody's problem.
Oh, okay. It's
she's stuffy. We're trying something new, and I don't know if it's Hubbaloo or not, but she passes the hell out really quickly because we give her like a little bit of grass-fed butter right after her bottle.
Like, just like
Kerrygold's.
So
because
when you say grass-fed, so you just like melt it and
take a spoon, give it to her, let her eat a little butter. This sounds terrible. I know it's terrible, but like
it sounds like the most American shit.
No, apparently this is like an old Irish thing or like an old English thing.
Just giving your baby butter.
Okay, so there is not a lot of science behind it, but like a lot of people keep posting videos and comments, and like my child is like being the disprover for some of it. Like I put my baby down at age 45 and she didn't wake up until 5:45. I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah,
like,
the thing is, it's like the problem with like these old-timey remedies and everything is like it's really hard. We might have to change out beers soon.
No, we will finish this.
We will finish, but like
I'm going to say this. The flavor profile would be better in a mead than in a beer.
I think so.
I think, ooh, king cake mead.
King cake mead does
King
sound
cake
good.
mead.
But like, yeah, I agree that. I mean,
Well,
it's
I mean,
okay,
the thing, like back to the butter thing.
Yeah.
Like the big thing I'm seeing is if you give your baby a little bit more fat in their meal, because like a lot of baby foods
Are not fat.
are not fatty. Baby like sausages, like you get like the little like jar of like really gross turkey or beef Vienna sausages for babies, not a lot of fat. So like the reason babies pass out after a bottle is because milk has fat in it. So the concept here is if you add a little bit more fat into your baby's diet, it could help them sleep. Now, also to anyone out there that is listening, I am a 40-year-old man with a 10-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. I am not an expert in parenting. I'm not an expert in baby nutrition. But yeah, it like she passes out and stays asleep from like 8:30 until like 1:30 in the morning. So we're getting like a solid like 5 hours of sleep. The problem is I would like her to then get another
5 hours,
3 hours of sleep so that I can get like more than like, cause she passes out on me and it's like, I'm not going to bed at 8:30.
Well, I wonder if the extra fat helps like her go to sleep, but it also might disrupt her stomach a bit.
I've thought about that, but I think right now the biggest thing that's hurting her is she keeps catching every sinus, whatever. Like this poor girl, since going to daycare, has not had like more than a couple days without a runny nose. Like,
has she already gone through her whole shot schedule, or
up until 4? We're good until 4.
Okay, yeah.
Go get your kids vaccinated.
Yeah,
that's not political.
Yeah, that's not political.
Get your kids vaccinated. Whooping cough needs to stay dead.
We don't want any more whooping cough, TB.
Any of those? No.
Even the flu shot. I mean, honestly, the flu shot's actually...
Be a champ. Get the Bronze Star that you get for getting your shot. No, they don't do that anymore. That was polio back in the days. You got a little Bronze Star sticker.
I remember my mom was talking about like when they got vaccinated for smallpox, they would always show off the smallpox scar.
Yeah, like my mom said that a lot of boys would do. Yeah, look at this. I'm like, she never did because girls weren't supposed to have.
Yeah.
To think we like completely eradicated that disease in our country for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, technically TB is super rare, but we're having an outbreak now. But speaking of a different time when there was TB and smallpox.
That's your segue?
Yeah, that's my segue.
Dear Lord, I'm just going to sit here and keep eating crackers and cheese with pepperoni in my mouth, realizing I'm about to have to drink cinnamon beer again.
Yeah, this beer is not really well suited for the charcuterie, is it? So what do you know about Robert Johnson?
Crossroads, Soul to Soul to the Devil. Learned how to play a guitar real good.
Yeah.
Learned how to make all those folks dance.
Yeah, I mean, he is probably the quintessential archetype for the modern incarnation of like the Faustian bargain. The guy that, for the price of his soul, sells his soul to get something in return. In this case, fancy guitar playing.
You know what? There are worse things to sell your soul for.
Yeah. Like rickets.
I don't know who would sell. Like, I've heard people like, man, I'd sell my soul for that sandwich. Like, bruh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know who would sell their soul for rickets, but you know, there's at least one. There's 8 billion people out there. One person's going to sell their soul for rickets.
Only if it's rickets from Berserk, so that he can live.
Well, I was talking about rickets in terms of.
I know. You're talking about like the disease that makes you bow-legged and like hurts children. I was trying to bring in a hyper-violent anime that seemed like it might be a lesser of two evils.
Depression or violence? Take your pick. That's kind of America right now. Anyway,
no, it's both. America chose both.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, our medication's about to be too expensive for us to be in a right state of mind. It's about to be I live, I die, I live again.
While there's limited information on Johnson himself, it's hard to dispute the contributions he's had to modern music.
I mean, like, seriously, like, he is one of the most iconic bluesmen.
Yeah, they call him the grandfather of rock and roll. They call him the most important blues singer to ever live and the king of Delta blues.
Also, most musically talented member of the Soggy Bottom Boys.
Well, we'll get to that, but anyway. So before we get into the legend of Robert Johnson, let's get into a little bit of the history of Robert Johnson. Let's see where he came from. So he was born on May 8th, 1911 in Hazelhurst, Mississippi, which is about 2,000 then, it's about 2,000 now in terms of population.
I mean, and Hazelhurst is where in Mississippi?
I believe it's middle-ish or middle northish, close to the Delta.
All right, hold on, because here's the thing is...
We've probably driven through it.
I mean, the thing is that my parents live in Cleveland, Mississippi, which is not too far south of Clarksdale, where supposedly the deal was made. But the number of times that we've gone through Mississippi, and we have driven up and down the Delta. Okay, so Hazelhurst is off 55 near Crystal Springs, just south of Jackson.
So I figured, like, it's in that, like, trying to visualize it, it's like Jackson is like...
It's whenever we go to New Orleans, Hazelhurst is about...
It'd be about 30 miles out?
It's about 15 minutes south of Jackson.
Yeah, so 20, 30 miles out.
So, I mean, I can't count the number. Like, it's almost like you could cut over from Hazelhurst to go see Cannon.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of...
There's going to be a lot of places in here that we're going to recognize.
I mean, it's like Alligator, Mississippi. But, I mean, the amount of western Mississippi we've gone through is kind of weird now that I think about it. Like, but you've never been to eastern Mississippi, have you?
I've only driven through eastern Mississippi, like on my way to Florida, when we used to actually go to the beach. I really want to go to the beach again. I don't think, I guess Biloxi would be a good place to go. Mm-hmm. Like, I heard Biloxi's actually okay.
Biloxi, Gulf.
Okay, so he was born in Hazelhurst, Mississippi. He was an illegitimate child of Julia Dobbs, who had an affair with Robert's biological dad, who is Noah Johnson. Now, I'm going to say this now. Part of the story is going to focus around his relationship with his dad, but I don't believe he ever actually met his dad. He just knew of his existence. So at this time, Robert Johnson was known as Robert Dobbs. In fact, he would take the surname of his stepfather's, because obviously he's not going to be known as Robert Johnson at this point. But he didn't live in Hazelhurst long, because his family was actually run out by a lynch mob in Hazelhurst. And then they had moved to Memphis, where he spent much of his early life. And this is where he got an education and he started interested in music.
Now, fun fact that's not fun, because this is roughly like the early 1900s. Is where 3 of my classes are right now.
Yeah.
And it jacked up my American history dual enrollment class when I showed them, because I had notes. It said, like, in Mississippi, Arkansas, and Missouri, especially, they sold tickets to lynchings. Like, and people would drive. Trains in Mississippi gave a discount if you're going to an advertised lynching. And they thought I was joking until I pulled up the newspaper from Jackson.
Yeah.
From 1902 that was talking about the lynching of 3 men for whistling and assaulting a woman of high standing.
And what's sad about this is people do not realize just how close we are to that age. It's not like some bygone era.
No, I mean, shit, the last official lynching in Louisiana, like, documented one was, like, in the 1960s in Morehouse Parish, just north of us.
Like, our parish right now, this parish right here was known for, like, some of the highest rates of lynching.
Oddly, another fact is, voted to stay Union.
Yeah.
They had to station Texas troops in our parish to keep us from seceding from Louisiana.
I mean, but there was also, like, the Cajun ancestry down south in Acadiana that weren't as viciously racist up until like the Jim Crow era, when, like, the white black
Well,
race.
that's another thing we need to get into on a different podcast and maybe bring Knox in, because there was a while that Louisiana literally tried to kill off the Cajun culture all the way back up to when we were born, the decade we were born in.
I've heard of that.
So, but anyway, sorry. Minor derail. Sorry, future Chris, but I feel like that was something that contribute, because listeners listeners need to know, like, literally, like, I hate to say this, a lynching was an event and people would go to it.
Yeah, it was a whole ordeal.
I mean, like, like saying that someone went to like a public hanging because there's no TV, like, we've known about that forever, but it's like selling tickets to a lynching. Like, just, we're going to straight up sell tickets to a racist ass event.
Yeah.
I mean, they did with vaudeville.
It's how normalized racial violence was.
Daddy, are we going into town today? Yeah, I bought tickets, son.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like, there's still a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And people don't want to talk about it. But here, I'm just going to say this now before I move on. The first person to ever go into an all-white school during desegregation is still alive.
Yeah, that's something that people need to remember, is Ruby Bridges is still alive.
Yeah, there are color photographs of the civil rights leaders. Just pointing that out. I think I mentioned that before. There's like,
you did. I don't know if it was.
I don't know if it's true or not, but there is like a means.
Well, I'll be honest. The main reason that there's black and white photos in textbooks is because schools are broke, and it's not gonna.
So he spent much of his life in Memphis, Tennessee, or much of his younger life. And I say younger, I mean prepubescent, not a teenager. Spent most of those years, I think.
Still bought Pokemon cards unironically.
Yeah. I mean, I play Magic. I can't say nothing there. So he spent much of his childhood there until his mother married someone else named Dusty Willis, and then Robert Willis. And they moved to a place called Commerce, Mississippi, near Tunica, Mississippi.
Been through Commerce.
Yeah. Technically, Commerce does not exist anymore, or at least it's a ghost town. Tunica exists because it's a casino town.
And it's mostly a ghost town because you can see the giant abandoned strip mall across from...
Yeah, I remember driving, like, as soon as I started reading this and I saw Tunica, like, immediately in my head...
Tunica is the only place I've seen a closed, like, abandoned Waffle House.
Yeah. Like, we were driving through there. I got the image of us driving through there, getting gas, looking all sorts of ways, and we're seeing all these buildings, nothing in there.
Oh, no, like, so one of the last time, like, before my daughter was born, we went up to go visit family, and Vincent goes, Daddy, I gotta pee, Daddy, I gotta pee. So I pull over at the Chevron station that you and I have been to 1,000 times. And I notice the lights aren't on, and Vince and I walk straight through the door. Emily's like trying to get our attention, like, hey. We walk in, there's a dude at the register who just looks up at me. They go, hey, look, my kid's got to pee. Where's the bathroom? We're closed. Emily still swears we might have walked in on a dude robbing that gas station. Because, like, he looked up like this, like, real surprised to see me, and I'm sitting there holding, like, a 7-year-old's hand, like, we got to pee. It's one of those, like, I'll be honest, if that dude was robbing the place and he showed me where the bathroom was...
Did he actually show you?
No, he's like, no, we're closed. So we went to, like, the reopened Waffle House next door. But it was one of those, like, we walked in, like, if that dude had been robbing the place and just told me where the bathroom was, I legit wouldn't have given a shit my child needed to piss. Like, oh, God.
Look.
That is, like, about as southern as you can get, like, robbing the place. Where's the bathroom? Right over there. You gonna snitch? No.
Mind your business. I'm minding my business. My kid's got to pee. I'm out. I got places to go. I don't give a shit what...
I am going to grab one of these Cokes, though, as we go, though.
It's like, oh, you're robbing the place? Oh, my gosh, they robbed so much.
They stole so many snacks. They stole so many snacks. Oh, my God, they took the full-size liquor bottles.
Oh, my goodness. All the fart meat is gone. For listeners at home, we call...
gas station jerky. To be fair, no, dude, you didn't even get gas station jerky. You bought Dollar General brand jerky.
And it's not even jerky. It's like the meat sticks.
You bought the Slim Jim from the Dollar General.
So, yeah, we have driven through there, and it's one of the places where he is said to start learning how to play the jaw harp, which I didn't know was actually called the Jew's harp for a while.
Yeah. It's that little... It's also known as the Irish harp. It's the It's the bit of metal with the spring still in the middle.
Yeah, looking this up, I saw some like YouTube shorts of people trying it, and someone was trying it and fucking chipped the tube.
Yeah, you got to be so like you really have to be careful. It's like so many people bite down onto it or clamp onto it with their lips, and really, what you're doing is you really need to just have it
free.
You need to have it rested against your lips and your teeth parted, so that when the spring still happens, you are the best way is you are the speaker for it. Like your mouth is the reverberation chamber.
Right. Okay.
That sounds okay. That still sounds bad. You're the speaker for it. It like the way it functions is kind of the same way as like those wooden cell phone speakers that like have the curve in the wood underneath, so it just comes out the bottom like that, amplified.
But yeah, he learned how to play that. He also learned how to play the harmonica, but he also started learning the guitar around this period. Now, as he started getting older, there started to get a rift between his stepfather. I'm getting his fucking stepfathers confused. Dusty Willis and him.
Okay, Dusty Willis is like kind of an awesome blues name, though.
Yeah, that sounds like it sounds like that would be his mentor, right?
Like Dusty Willis sounds like he knows every one of the songs that you need to know because the delta is in his bones, kind of thing.
This sounds like a man who probably also sold his soul to the devil to learn how to play guitar. But that's not who Dusty Willis was. He wanted Robert to just settle down, have a farm life, not worry about all the other shit going on in the world. Just stay here in commerce.
Kind of a Booker T. Washington kind of dude of, I want you to make your money and live a good life. Don't worry about, like, know your place, be within it, live the best life you can live with this.
Yeah. And you can understand because of the fact that, like, one, it's in the Jim Crow era. Segregation is, it's the law of the land. And just being black in the wrong place can get you killed.
Tell that to Emmett Till.
Yeah. And you're talking, he is trying to, like, Robert wants to be a blues musician. And what is the thing that blues musicians, especially Delta blues musicians back in those days, what are they doing? They're traveling town to town and trying to entertain people. They're often a stranger in the town.
They're one of the easiest people to blame when something goes the fuck wrong.
So if he were to go into the wrong place at the wrong time,
smile at the wrong woman, he'd disappear.
Yeah.
He'd be in a levee. Like, let's not lie. He'd be in a levee.
Of course, Johnson, not deterred by that, and especially not after when I believe he was at the age of either 19 or 20. He also had lost his wife at the time.
19.
Yeah. 1920s, 1930s, man.
Okay, look. My grandmother was born in 1903. She was married by 1919.
Yeah.
Had her first child by 1919.
I believe his wife was 16 or 17.
Fuck.
I mean, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's...
Magic numbers in there for me, but I know how the past was.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do the magical... It was in the past, different
back in the day when Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Pepperidge Farm remembers when you could marry your first cousin.
You still can in a lot of states.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But no, like, let me put it this way. Like, what you're talking about, I'm well aware of because Granny was born in 1903. My great-grandfather that I never met, that was apparently a grade A piece of work, had a 1880-something birthday. So he was, by their standard, he was already a whole-ass man when she was born because, he was a teenager or some shit.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, I'm glad. We need to keep moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Some of these folks that are out there that want to go back to those days.
We need to go back.
I'll back your kneecaps with a bat.
But yeah, his wife at the time died giving birth, making him a widower.
Did the baby survive?
Baby did not survive.
Oh.
So this only kind of fueled the need to pursue his own path. I mean, death is like that, right? you sort of have a moment of clarity when.
Well, it's not even so much that is, if everything's so finite, why do I want to keep doing the same old thing every day?
Yeah. It's like, why do I want to just sit here and do this when I have such a passion for something else? I mean, that's the reason why midlife crisis exists, is because people realize, oh fuck, this doesn't last forever.
By the way, that Shelby Cobra kit I bought's coming in soon.
What?
No. I turned 40, man. I'm making a midlife crisis joke.
Yeah. Oh man, we need to get our McLarens, right? We cannot afford McLarens.
Oh no. We can afford McLarens. You don't want the McLaren we can afford because, one, in 87 it was a bad car. And in 2025 it's not gotten better with age.
I mean, it is a depreciating asset, so.
I also don't want to fucking learn how to gear shift with my left hand because...
Are you serious? A gear shifts with the left hand?
If I'm talking about an 87 McLaren, dude, that's the British model.
Oh my god. Oh, I thought... I'm a fucking moron. I was thinking in American terms, but the fucking gear shift is over here. Anyway, we're getting off track.
I know Future Chris is... I'm Future Chris, this is not my fault, but it is.
It's both of our faults. So around this time, a famous blues musician by the name of Son House, who has amazing music.
Also, Son House is a badass name.
Hit one of his best songs, like his most famous song is called Death Letter Blues, and it's super fucking
You've
good.
played that for me before.
Yeah,
it is amazing.
He settled in the area with his partner Willie Brown. This gave Johnson a front row seat to two established blues artists who would often play in small town bars. Before and after their sets, Robert would go to their guitars, and according to House, Robert was an embarrassingly bad guitarist, though a great harmonica player.
So you're telling me that he is the same level of guitar player as me at this point, but totally not the same level of harmonica player as me right now.
He is apparently a ballin' ass harmonica player. Cannot play guitar for shit. In fact, they would often run him off the guitar whenever they got annoyed. Like, Son House was like, you need to stop.
I'm playing Freebird.
It's like, that song isn't even invented yet, and it's still bad.
Wow.
I'm kidding. If you like Freebird, you like Freebird.
To be fair, it is a pretty good solo. The song, though. Okay.
I think I've just heard it so much that I'm just...
To be fair, every time I hear Freebird, I think of a fight scene from the first Kingsman movie.
Yeah.
Is it Freebird that plays during that fight scene in the church? It is. Oh my god, they kill white supremacists to Freebird.
The ultimate irony. I'm kidding.
That and the scene where they blow up the Klan and Django are still some of my favorite movie scenes.
Okay, so bit of a tangent, but it is related because we're talking about, the South and like Jim Crow era. I mean, Django happens before that, but anyway. Like, I keep seeing like the clips from Django Unchained pop up in my YouTube shorts. And I'm like, I just want to watch this whole fuck. Like, whatever you think of, like,
Tarantino and his feet fetish.
Yeah, like Tarantino has some good movies. He has some problematic aspects about him. Django Unchained is like,
oh my god, I love
one great movie. Anyway, so this is where the part of the story gets a little bit muddy, because shortly after learning about his father, he formally adopted the name of Johnson as his last name. Then decided, depending on who you ask, this is also where the legend starts to mix in with the history. Because depending on who you ask, this is either when he was going to find his father or going to become a blues musician, or both. Depending on, like, the legend that you ascribe to.
Was his daddy really good with the guitar?
I didn't see anything about his dad.
I'm just saying, like, if we go with that, he went off to meet his father, and all of a sudden that's how he learned how to play the guitar. That would be a really cool note.
I mean, that would, but that's not what happens.
Oh, man. Oh,
But
beans.
one of the reasons why this is like so, like, why it feeds into it is because only a year later he comes back.
And he rips ass.
He fucking knows how to play the guitar like a motherfucker.
Like, he makes love to those strings.
And Sunhouse and Willie Brown are like,
The fuck?
damn. I don't think they're like super reactive. They're just like,
No. Faces. Inside. Shit.
but yeah, they had said that just in a year he had vastly improved to like a near virtuoso status on the guitar. In fact, like during his time after this, he was said to be able to just pick up a song like that and just learn it, which is a much harder skill than you think.
Unless you just naturally have kind of like we have friends that have like Lulu. You give her a swivel knife and she starts drawing on leather as if it was nobody's business.
Yeah. I mean, if you're someone that plays music, you probably have a lot of muscle memory, and you have a lot of memory of like chords and sounds and like notes that you can just pull out of nowhere. Like, especially if you've been playing guitar for a while. But note that he was only playing guitar for about a year. And then suddenly, or he was only playing guitar like consistently for a year outside of commerce, and then he comes back and he's just like this amazing guitarist. Now, of course, everyone would say at this point this is where he sold his soul to the devil. He went to Clarksdale.
Went to the crossroads where you can get some very good barbecue at Famous Abe's.
And he went there at the middle of the night, made a deal with, what was it, Papa Legba?
Oh, it's either Legba or Asmodeus or the devil himself.
Yeah.
Which, let's all acknowledge this, because I've been sitting on this for a minute. The devil wears a suit and tie.
Well, I mean, in this era, the devil would probably be white.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is the devil wears a suit and tie, white as a cotton field, sharp as a knife. You can hear him yelling as he passes you by on 61. It's Coulter's song, The Devil Wears a Suit and Tie.
Man, I was lost for a minute. Maybe you need to send me that song.
Yeah, when we're done, I'll let you listen to it.
Yeah.
He also sang Sleeping on Blacktop.
But yeah. Now that's the legend that he went out before he was the bad guitarist, went sold his soul to the devil, and then came back devil or a guitar playing master. Of course, like the whole idea of the thing is like he went up, he played something for the devil came up, took the guitar, retuned it, played something, handed it back, and there's the deal.
But let's look at it from Son's perspective here. You got this kid that sucks at guitar, sucks ass, up here in the Northern Delta. All of a sudden, he runs back south, or he runs off, and you don't see him for a year. Fuck, you don't know if you're going to ever see him again, because, you know, how many faces do you see and then don't see in the music industry? Right?
Shit. And Jim Crow South.
And then all of a sudden, he comes back,
And he's...
and there ain't no sunshine when she rang, or there ain't no sunshine when she gone. You know what I mean?
Like, what other explanation do you have? Aside from the kid is a fucking genius, maybe.
I mean, like, he comes off, like, how would you explain it? You are old, like, okay, let's get the, like, a little bit of that hate, that little bit of that salt that this kid went off for a year and comes back and plays better than you now. Like, beforehand, he was garbage. What do you say? He sold his soul to the devil. Because that's the only way he could go from balls terrible to great. So, you know what? At this point, this is my little inkling here. Most of Robert Johnson selling his soul to the devil is angry people who couldn't play it as good as him.
I'll let you sit on that. I personally wouldn't put that on Sunhouse, but I like Sunhouse's music.
Well, I'm not saying it necessarily like to be mean. I'm just saying, like, how would anybody explain it?
Yeah, like it is such a because guitar is not like an easy instrument.
No, none of the string instruments are.
Um, it's not laid out. Like if you look at the way let's say a piano is laid out versus how a guitar is laid out, not remotely similar.
Mm-mm.
Like, and learning how to do chords is a weird process. But the more historic idea, the music. Okay, now the music historian Robert Palmer has a less supernatural explanation. During this time, he had gone back to Hazelhurst and married an older woman. This woman would help afford him the financial support.
Did he find a sugar mama?
That's one of the things. Here's the thing. This is another part where it gets kind of fuzzy. One is like he found a sugar mama to kind of like just chill out and really learn. The other one is that he moved in with and this is the one that's probably more accurate because there's documents of him playing with this person, which is Isaiah Ike Zimmerman. Zimmerman was a well-respected blues musician who happened to cross paths with Robert near his birthplace of Hazelhurst. When it was suspected that Robert was looking for his father, Zimmerman was at the time playing in a juke joint, and impressed with Zimmerman's playing, he was like, "Hey, can you teach me? Can you tell me how to do?"
Because at this point, he's like still like 1920, right?
Yeah, he's about 1920.
God, he's still a baby.
Yeah, and he's traveling on his own. He went from Commerce to Hazelhurst.
Couple 100 miles.
Yeah, but yeah, Zimmerman ended up taking him under his wing to teach him how to play guitar. Now, great thing about Zimmerman, he has his own spooky legend about him.
Ooh, do tell.
So he was said to have gained his abilities through learning from the spirits in graveyards. And this isn't too far off from the truth. Okay, maybe if you don't believe in spirits, obviously. But Zimmerman had a habit of going out at night, in the middle of the night, to graveyards to practice.
Well, I mean, think about this. Like Dr. HP that taught me damn near everything in college. When he walked around the world, if he didn't have money, he went and slept in graveyards. Because nobody fucks with you in a graveyard.
That's fair.
Like, let me phrase that. Very few places, like the United States, there's some people that would probably fuck with you in a graveyard. But, like, let's say you're in New Orleans and you decide to sleep in St. Louis 1 or 3.
Yeah,
everybody's going to look at you like, one, you're probably going to get arrested for trespassing.
Yeah.
But two, if you don't, everybody's going to look at you like you are absolutely
insane.
But think about it, they're quiet. Your neighbors are definitely going to be quiet. They're not getting up.
Yeah.
And think about the acoustics in the middle of a graveyard.
Oh, especially like in the graveyards they went to, which were not like even back in those days.
We're not talking about necropolises like down in New Orleans.
Yeah, we're talking about like these lone graveyards that are probably off the beaten path. In fact, one of the graveyards that he took Johnson to was a graveyard called Beauregard Cemetery, which is a whites only cemetery they would go to in the middle of the night.
I absolutely love that and approve of this on every level.
So,
like okay, one, there's got to be a little pettiness.
I mean, I think a part of it is like you're in the middle of the night, and I'm saying this as a white person. White people are quick to frighten. So if they hear some shit coming out of a cemetery, they're gonna be like, "That's ghost. That's some ghost."
You doing that makes me think of fucking Blazing Saddles.
Oh god!
When he leans out and goes, "Where are the white women at?" Oh my god!
So fucking Robert Johnson was just
fucking with the Klan and playing a guitar. I approve of this. You know what? We now need to make a kids cartoon.
I would love that. I would love a
Make it like a magical girl transformation, but it's all like guitars.
all blues musicians.
Oh shit! And they summon the Loa as they're like, instead of being like Mars, Venus, Mercury, all that.
It's just the Loa.
Legba Samadi Dambala Iowedel.
Dude, that is actually kind of fucking awesome.
Oh shit! Oh, we'd get in trouble for being woke so quick.
Yeah, in this day and age, it's like, that's woke. It's like, no, blues is good.
Okay, back to the point so future Chris doesn't kill us.
Also, I on another note, on a serious note, I would feel bad about like appropriating hoodoo.
No, that's why we get someone on staff that knows and like
True. We don't just like steal the symbols and be like, yeah.
We don't fucking child's play this shit.
Yeah. During this era, he learned from Zimmerman. He learned from Mike how to play. He also learned how to have a stage presence here because he would play with Ike at juke joints, at construction sites, anywhere that they would let them play. At first, it was him and Ike playing, but eventually Ike would like
step back
and let
so
him.
Is this like I'm teaching you how to ride a bike without training wheels kind of situation?
Yeah. And he would start doing that and allow Robert Johnson to really get into his rhythm. And it also allowed him to, like musicians do, they exchange, like, inspirations. And he, from here, learned about people like Lonnie Johnson, Scrapper Blackwell, and...
Scrapper Blackwell is like a solid name.
Yeah, he's good, too. Like, you can find his stuff on Spotify. But... he started Ike started like giving him some other stuff, started exposing him to other blues musicians. And while Zimmerman never had any recordings, unfortunately, there are said to be Robert Johnson songs that are either Zimmerman songs or Zimmerman and Johnson wrote them together. Now, the family of Zimmerman says a few of the songs are either written by Zimmerman or they were collaborated. And I don't think it's like shitting on Robert Johnson for doing it. I think it's more
just like, hey, my double great grandpa.
Yeah. And to understand the idea of blues, there's like I forget it's called, like the standard blues songs. Mm-hmm. Songs that are like so popular and so big. Like Sweet Home Chicago by Robert Johnson is so big. It's in the Blues Brothers movie.
I mean, also think about like
and Obama sung it.
Well, there's like think about the House of the Rising Sun. That's a blues song that the Animals are noted for being like one of the most famous versions that sung it. But I do not know how many different bands, like even Dead South is covered. Yeah. And the thing is like there's certain blues songs that have been covered by so many people, and were covered by the same people at the same time, that it's really hard to decipher who did it first. Like, oh God, what's her name? Not Rosie.
Rosetta Tharpe?
Yeah, Rosetta Tharpe. There are so many songs that she did and someone else did at the same time. You don't know who did it first. However, I will say Rosetta.
Oh, she could play.
She did it better. Okay,
so the songs that he apparently either collaborated with or wrote were Come On In My Kitchen.
That's a good one.
Dust My Broom and Ramblin' On My Mind. Ramblin' On My Mind is one of my favorites.
I do like that one. I haven't heard Dust My Broom.
Dust My Broom is good. That is also a blues standard. So you have heard probably now I can't think of an Elmer something. Don't say Fudd. I'll kill you.
I thought it, and then I said no, because Elmer Fudd's a big fat white dude. He's not
Yeah.
I shouldn't say big. He's like barely taller than Bugs Bunny.
White people eventually got into. I'm a white person into blues, but yeah, I mean Led Zeppelin covered a lot of blues. After his tenure with Zimmerman, he became an itinerant musician, which is a walking musician. He did remarry and have a kid in 1931, but soon after that is when he decided.
Okay, hold on. 31, and he was born in 1911?
Yeah.
So he's like, my wife died when I was 19. Now I'm 20. I'm remarried with another kid. God damn, he moved fast.
But then he was like, "Nah, I gotta be a itinerant musician.
I gotta be free. Okay, look, different time, different place, different cultures. But here's the deal: like, this is where I'm gonna fault Robert Johnson. That your kid?
Yeah, that's your kid.
That's your kid. Like, I don't care if you don't want to be with the mama no more. But like, you cannot biologically deny that your kid.
Yeah. No matter what artist you listen to, they're going to have their faults. They're going to be problematic in some way. But it's also like, Robert. So, as a traveling musician, he would stick mostly with the Mississippi River between Memphis, Tennessee, and Helena, Arkansas. When Johnson would arrive in a new town...
Helena,
yeah.
Shit. Have you ever been to Helena?
I have not.
You can cross to Helena from, I believe it's Clarksdale. Helena, Piggly Wiggly, Huddle House. Fuck all. Dollar General ain't built there.
I mean, consider where he came from.
Dollar General ain't built there.
I mean, it makes sense, though. So, every time he would show up in a new town, he'd set up shop in the street corner and play mostly popular music of the day. Now, this comes back to the fact that, like, he could just listen to a song and just pick it up. So, if he was hearing a song on the radio...
Let's be honest. All popular music uses 4 chords.
Yeah. Like, even back in the day, it wasn't like super...
He's out there on the street corner. I can't live with or without you whenever I fall.
He just starts playing Nickelback, and he's like, hate this.
I'm making a joke about the Axis of Awesome 4-chord song.
Oh, right, yeah. So when Johnson would arrive in a new town, he would go on a street corner and, do his thing, play popular songs of the day, but he would never really play a lot of his original blues songs, which kind of makes sense if you're trying to entertain, like, a group of people, especially probably a lot of white people.
I am reminded of the scene from Blues Brothers at the country bar.
Yeah.
When all of a sudden they tried to sing and then they decided to do Rawhide.
Yeah.
And Rawhide was successful.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. How many times have we gone to see a band and they do like 3 or 4 of their own songs, but the rest of the set is whatever would have been popular at that venue?
He would go to every town, kind of have this like rapport with people. That way he would be able to go back to that town and kind of like build his name. The way he would actually stay in these towns, he would travel by foot or by, hitchhiking. And he would stay with an extended family or with women in that particular town. He never married again, but had relationships with various women across the Delta.
Thanks.
Thank you. One of these women's sons would eventually become a blues musician after being taught by Johnson on and off until his death. Robert Jr. Lockwood, the only man to be directly taught by Robert Johnson.
That is another badass name, like the last name Lockwood.
Yeah, his name is Robert Jr. Lockwood.
His middle name is Junior.
Yeah.
God damn, I love that.
The blues, like early blues, was fucking hardcore, man.
Dude, no, it's not even just early blues, just naming kids back in the fucking day. Like
Scrapper Blackwell.
Well, that's somehow a nickname. That's a nickname. Or did somebody name that child Scrapper when he was born?
During these years, Robert would be known as a good-hearted man, though a bit fond of whiskey and women.
Well, what bard does not like drink and ladies?
Yeah. I mean, he was like the quintessential bard. Like, if you're an itinerant musician and you're just traveling around and playing, like...
We need to make a bard subclass that is a blues singer.
That would be a nice one.
It'd be so dope.
So in 1936, Robert sought out a talent broker named H.C. Spicer, which led to 2 recording sessions in San Antonio and Dallas, Texas. This is when his entire discography of 29 songs would be recorded. So he
only has 29 songs. He has 1.5 CDs.
Yeah. So, and they were all recorded over the course of 2 days. And not consecutive, just he went in one day in Dallas, recorded a song. Went in another day at San Antonio, recorded a song.
So the devil beside me, or the devil on my trail, and every other song he recorded
Was within that 2 days.
Fuck.
What's crazy too is like some of these songs were recorded 2 or 3 times. So I think Walking Blues or Crossroad Blues has like 2 or 3 different iterations. Hellhound on My Trail I think has 2. You would have to go and look. Like they have records now that are just his full discography. You can find them online pretty easily now. Unfortunately, a little over a year after his second recording, which I believe was in San Antonio, he would die at the age of 27.
He was a baby.
Yeah, he was pretty much. He wasn't even 30. He hit the 27 club. Like he was one of the earliest, or one of the.
He might be the first.
Here's where another part of the story comes to life. When he died, there was no cause of death recorded. The lack of details of his death had allowed people to fill in the gaps. So, what killed Robert Johnson?
Whiskey.
Probably whiskey. One theory is that he had a congenital disorder such as Marfan syndrome or congenital syphilis.
Now, if he had Marfan syndrome, was he unusually tall?
Okay.
Or did he have long fingers?
Okay, so that's the thing. Like, these theories are based on observation on only 2 photos, like 2 or 3 photos, where, okay, if you've ever seen, like, old photos of people...
They're not great.
Yeah, they're very high contrast. If you see, there's, like, an iconic photo of him with the guitar, and he has a cigarette, and people are like, his hands are, like, unusually long. I think it's just the contrast. His hands don't look ill-proportioned. Or not ill-proportioned, you know. Like, they don't look overly long. They don't look unusual in any way. But people look at stuff like that and say he might have Marfan syndrome. And again, like, I don't know where the congenital syphilis
Well, if
comes
either
from.
of his parents had it and he contracted it on birth, usually, though, children who contract syphilis at birth die much
Younger.
earlier because... syphilis will eat your brain.
Yeah. So, the other one is he was murdered by poisoning. So we were talking about that whole thing about, you know, being, you know, a black man that goes into a town and...
Yeah. Now,
So-
let me say this. I hate to say it this way, especially if it's like it's Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi. If it's any of the neck of the woods we're in, I would say that somebody that was mad at him for like flirting with a white woman wouldn't poison him. They would outright kill him. So like if he was poisoned, I would feel that it was almost like somebody that was jealous he slept with another woman.
Yeah. So that is pretty close. He was said to have flirted with the man's wife and they had poisoned his drink. This has some validity, since David Honeyboy Edwards, a fellow musician...
Honeyboy.
So many good names.
Okay, that is both a good and such a bitch nickname of Honeyboy.
Like, I feel like it's one of those names that was probably given and, like they were trying to make fun of him, and
then, like, he just owned it. Like, he just...
fuck you, I'm gonna own it.
You know why I'm Honeyboy?
Yeah. It's like the opposite of like Italian mobsters that don't like hearing like you don't call
you don't want to like be named Tiny or Baby or Little.
Yeah, you don't want to call Babyface to his name Babyface because he gets mad. But Honeyboy is like, yeah, call me Honeyboy, motherfucker. He's a fellow musician and a close friend of Johnson who was there the night he died, where he actually tried to get Johnson not to drink from a drink that a stranger was giving him.
So Honeyboy might not have poisoned him. Honeyboy would be like, nah, dude.
Yeah,
nah, dude.
What had happened is, like, he was playing with Robert Johnson as, like, the backing instruments. And Johnson flirting with a woman, and then he gets a drink from a stranger. And Honeyboy's like,
fuck no, bro.
Don't do that. That's bad. And Johnson,
like,
having a love for women and whiskey.
Fuck you, free whiskey.
Yeah. And apparently, this was what killed him. Now, it's like there's a few different things that they said, like someone dissolved mothballs or something like that, or like things like that.
To be fair, that's not that far from legitimate, especially if we're getting into the 1930s when you got like moonshine that can hide fucking the taste of anything because it'll burn the wart off of a mule.
I mean, he could have just had like, well, he would have died a lot quicker if it was methanol.
Yeah. Or, I mean, let's be honest. We got to also throw another theory out there. The devil.
The devil. So aside from a freak occurrence, like the only other speculation is that his time was up. The devil was like, it's time to pay your due.
Well, I mean, the other thing I would throw out there that you didn't really listen is there's a good chance he might have had a congenital heart disease.
That is also true.
Because,
I kind of put that up there with, like, the freak occurrence potential.
Yeah, well, it is, but also, like, I hate to say it this way. I have a lot of students that are already on blood thinners in my neighborhood that I teach in. So, there is a predisposition for some folks to heart disease over others.
I mean, there's also and this is like a genetic thing, is like sickle cell trait.
Yeah, African Americans do have a higher rate of sickle cell than other folks.
Yeah, much higher. And when I say sickle cell, I don't mean sickle cell disease necessarily. I mean sickle cell trait.
Right.
Which you can go through life having no symptoms, and then
all of a sudden it smacks you.
Yeah, there's actually like kidney cancer that's tied to sickle cell trait. That like you go from I'm okay, you're dead. Like it just happens, which is unfortunate, and I am. But regardless, it could have been the devil. Could have been Papa Legba being like, yo, man, you know, we did make a deal. And he's like, you right, let me just finish this whiskey real quick and go to bed and we can head out.
Right, Legba's like, no, man, wait, hold on. Is that, what is that? Is that a 5-year? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like, go ahead, man, go ahead. I feel like Legba would be like, just...
Let me be honest. We've talked about Legba. Legba will let you get your last drink. Somebody will get your last drink if you share with him.
Yeah. He's like, you better get the bottle, motherfucker. We're gonna enjoy this night, and then you're coming with me. There was no recorded cause of death on his death certificate, and it wasn't even like people were seeking him out, and then realized he was dead.
Okay, let's be honest. 1920s, 1930s, United States.
About 1936.
1936, black man in the South.
Yeah.
He dead.
Yeah.
We say he dead. What happened? He dead.
But yeah, his mysterious early death also fueled the speculation of him being like this figure who sold his soul to the... So whether or not like parts of his life were like... Whether or not you can say that like, you know, he sold his soul to the devil or not, there are parts of his life that are really obscure and allow for that urban legend to take place. So, regardless, his mysterious death only fueled the legends of the devil at the crossroads. But, did he sell his soul to the devil? I mean...
you know what? We haven't done this in a minute. So, let's both give our honest opinion.
I'm going to say probably not.
My heart says no. But, okay, let me say this. My mind says no, but my heart wants to say yes to make the story fantastic. Which means I'm the romantic while you are the realistic.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It's like the myth itself doesn't actually even originate with Robert Johnson. You were talking about Tommy from...
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? Right.
Well, Tommy Johnson was actually a blues musician at the same time. No relation to Robert.
Well, I mean, Johnson's a common last name.
Yeah. And he actually propagated the myth around himself about selling his soul to the devil. That was actually his whole selling point. So sometime around then...
You know how I learned how to play the guitar so good? The devil. Yeah. And somebody's like, I'll give you $15.
Yeah, he kind of did that, and it just somehow stuck with Robert Johnson.
Well, they're both Johns. Okay, let's be honest. It's the South.
You hear Johnson. You
It's
see a
Jim. It's Jim Crow. It's a black dude with a guitar. His last name's Johnson.
Yeah,
And I hate to say that, like, it sounds so bad saying it out loud, but it's the reality of the time. Like,
you know that dude had to be so mad that
Robert Johnson got like the devil claim to fame that, like, I totally was trying to sell myself as a satanic guitarist, and this motherfucker,
he didn't do anything. He just
this
slept with women and drank whiskey.
this motherfucker from Hazelhurst.
Like, to be fair, some of Robert Johnson's songs were really ominous, so you know he has a little bit of that.
Well, I mean,
like,
the devil on my trail is about addiction.
Yeah, fucking what is it? There's Me and the Devil Blues is about him. Like, it's a really dark song when you listen to it because it's like, oh, the devil made me beat my wife, sort of deal. Trigger warning. I'm sorry. And like Hellhound on My Trail is about addiction.
Well, right. So I mean, the big thing here is, like, so many songs back then could be about all the bad habits that someone had.
Yeah.
Also, let's think about the blues coming from the African American community. Today's fine, but tomorrow you don't know if a bunch of white people are going to show up and try to hang you in a tree.
That's true. Like,
because you look like somebody.
Yeah. The thing is, like, you could be entertaining those folks. Those folks could have a rapport with you.
Next day,
they're accusing you of something.
You whistled at my wife.
Yeah. But Robert Johnson will be forever known as someone with an eerie falsetto, interesting musical notes, and some of the greatest blues songs to ever exist, and to inspire people like Led Zeppelin, Eric Clapton, Black Sabbath, and just entire genres of music would not
still influencing today. Like I mentioned, Dead South not that long ago, and the way that they hit the guitar and the way he hit the guitar are very similar.
Yeah, like, I mean, you can find his influence ever, and I will maintain this. Like, you will hear the influence of, like, any blues musician. Like, blues has its fingers in just about every music.
Well, think about what Elvis did with rock and roll. The way he danced and the way he, like, really Rosetta Thorpe influenced the way he played the guitar. Think about death metal. Like, the whole reason death metal had the sound it did is, like, you go back to Black Sabbath and one of the dudes had a fucking thimble.
Yeah, but they also were a blues band before they were...
What I'm saying is that you get that note of the metal on the chord changing the sound of the music.
Yeah.
But it's still a blues chord.
So, that is the story of Robert Johnson and the legend of Robert Johnson. This was actually more of an episode of just us talking about Robert Johnson's life as opposed to the legend, but I like that because I think his life is more interesting.
But his life is actually more obscure than the idea that he sold his soul to the devil. Like,
most people know that, and most people know his music, but you don't hear a lot about him as a person. So, my sources were Wikipedia, people, Robert Johnson, Tommy Johnson, Ike Zimmerman, Willie Brown, Sunhouse, Scrapper Blackwell, Commerce, Mississippi as Places, Tunica, Mississippi, Robert Johnson's Blues Foundation biography, Britannica, Robert Johnson, Lonnie Johnson. Forgot to talk about Lonnie Johnson. It's fine. We can come back to this subject. Ike Zimmerman, The X in Robert Johnson's Crossroads, 2008's Bruce Mitchell, Comfort PhD, University of Michigan, Upstage Guy, The Real Robert Johnson, The Clark House Inn, The Crossroads, Paul Mary Blues, Meet Robert Johnson, Mississippi Blues Trails, Robert Johnson Gravesite, another place we need to visit, and the Magnolia Tribune, Robert Johnson, Man, Myth, Legend, and Legacy. Thank you for listening. This is Backwoods Obscura. We release every Tuesday, and some of these days I post on social media, but we are also Team Bonus Action.
I kind of want to resurrect TikTok because it was the only thing I had a responsibility for.
Get on Red Note.
I'm not doing that. I'm not learning another language. Anyway, Team Bonus Action is a charity tabletop video game and board game and card game group. Currently at this point, if you donate to us, we don't have an official charity. We probably won't have a lot of official charities throughout the rest of this year. But if you want to donate to the Trevor Project or the ACLU to help people who are being discriminated against or have been unhomed / made homeless due to shitty parents and other situations in life, or a government not wanting to know or acknowledge that they exist,
Right.
you can donate to the Trevor Project so that LGBTQ plus youth have a place to stay that is safe and they have food to go in their belly.
They need it now.
Because it's, look, regardless of where you stand on the political stratum, kids don't need to go hungry. Kids do not need to be homeless. Anything else is a inconsequential bit of negligible argument. Kids deserve food. Kids deserve a safe place to sleep. And if parents won't provide it, we as adults need to do it for them. Also, provide money to the ACLU because not everybody can afford to go to court, and that's actually a massive problem in this country. But you can.
They are frontline on civil rights in terms of legal issues.
So if you can donate, please do. Also, Team Bonus Action can be found at teambonusaction.com, on Facebook or Blue Sky or Threads as Team Bonus Action. You can also find us on YouTube as Team Bonus Action. And you can find us on Twitch, streaming every Monday and Sunday as Team Bonus Action. And sometimes we might have some video games thrown in there.
And with that, I hope you have a good day or night or whatever time it is over there.
Hey, and if you go to the crossroads and see a white man with a dog, don't give him your soul.
Oh no, I sold my soul.
Oh, for Oxo Good Grips.